All right, so today we're starting a new video series. It's called Unqualified Applicants. Now, these are conversations that I have with potential tenants, and most of them go great, but every once in a while you get some real winners, and this is going over those. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so here's the first real winner. Now, he starts off by saying, "Hi, I'm ready to move in." Great, no problem. Very straightforward. He's showing enthusiasm. Great. Unfortunately at that time, we were still trying to catch up with showings. We were overbooked. So I was letting him know that unfortunately, I can't schedule anything right now, but I can reach out once we do have any openings. And he's like, okay, so when will that be? No problem. Not a bad question, I was like, hopefully by Monday, we can get everything taken care of and we can schedule you in. He's like, okay, no problem. So then he texted that on the 4th, and on the 7th he checks in. No problem. Very reasonable. He's like, keep me posted. This is where it kind of starts getting iffy. He's like, the landlord that me and my roommate are staying at, they want us out by the 31st of this month. Okay, what happened? I'm kind of curious. You hadn't mentioned this before. It's now urgent. Okay, I guess things happen, right? No big deal. I'm like, okay, will do. And then he texted that at 12:14 a.m. Then by 2 p.m. he had already said, let me know this Monday. I'm like, okay, he's clearly really on it. Like that's a good thing, but kind of awkward, right? Like we answered, okay, I will do, no problem. Then by 5 o'clock he texts again. He's like, we need to move in like right away. Now all the bells are going off. I mean, I'm just kind of wondering what happened. You went from the 31st to immediately needing to move in, and all the bells, whistles, alarms are going off. So I'm like, okay. Anyways, I'm like, all right, no problem. Hi, I said, hi, unfortunately, I understand there's a long process to move into this apartment. Like there's no application process and all of that stuff. So it's never a quick turnaround. So it might not be the best fit for you. Just being, honest with him, no big deal. And he's like, how would you know? I mean, I'm the one talking to him about renting it, and I guess I wouldn't. How would I know? How would I know? So now things are starting to take a weird turn, and I'm like, okay, this is awkward. So I kind of just shut down. I'm like, look, clearly something's going on here, and I really don't want part of it. So I kind of don't answer. He's like, hello, are you guys paper applications? Hi. I kind of just leave it be because something went on that he had to go from the 31st to immediately moving in, and me getting an attitude about saying that there is an application process. It takes time, So eventually I did answer him, and I said that we are in talks with a prospective tenant. And he said, okay, no big deal, right? No big deal. He's like, hey, again, at this point, I'm just like, I've kind of said that we were booked. We're talking to somebody about renting this place. And I mean, mind you, this isn't a matter of hours. He texted at 6:07 p.m. Then the next day he texted saying, hey, and then, is it still available? And so I had to say, no, we're in talks at the moment because nothing's changed. And at this point, he's like, so it's taken. I'm like, yup. For the most part, we're just talking to the tenant, figuring out when we can schedule things so that we can get them in to sign the lease. And so I said, yep. And with that, he gives me the birdie, the good old birdie. And I had no words for this. I mean, it's unprofessional. Like, next time if he reaches out for an apartment, I mean, I'm going to remember this. This is not how you want your memories of somebody to be. And it's sad because it's like, you clearly needed an apartment, but unfortunately this one wasn't working. Maybe you should have tried a different avenue. You know, there are other apartments available as well. So it's just a thing, you know. All right, let's get on to the next one. All right, so this one's a little awkward because it's more kind of, the conversation just didn't go anywhere. Like, she reached out and just blah, you know? Like, so we started off with her reaching out and saying, "Hi, is this still available?" And I was like, "Hi, the apartment's still available. Would you like to set up a showing?" You know? She's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Okay, so you'd like to set up a showing? No problem." I'm like, "What day works best for you to come see the unit?" Very normal question. To that, I also got an okay. At this point, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of like, do I just say okay? Maybe this is how this conversation goes. You say okay, I say okay. We're all okay, you know? Just odd. It didn't go anywhere. I at this point, I wasn't sure how to respond to this, so we just didn't, you know? All right, on to the next. Okay, so this person is in need of an apartment, and they reached out. So let's see what they said. They said, "Hi, is this available?" I'm like, "Hey, we're backed up at the moment. I can reach out once we are scheduling showings again, but, you know, we're just backed up at the moment." Then she reaches out a couple days later and says, "Are you back on schedule?" And I'm like, "Hey, we're in talks with a prospective tenant, and we should have everything wrapped up by Monday." And at this point, I understand people have a need, and I think that's where this came out, but it's very funny because, like, she said, "I need an apartment right now, and I have $900. Now, this apartment rents for $650, and our security deposit is $650 as well. So she doesn't even have the full amount available." I you know, there was really no helping, you know. It's just unfortunate that this was the situation, but very interesting that, you know, you didn't even have the full amount that's needed to rent the place. So, yeah. All right, on to the next. So, this one is how you should communicate. I mean, if we've given a couple bad examples, this is a good one. Now, she starts off very normally, you know, "Hi, is this available?" And I said, you know, she was like, "Hey, I would love to schedule a showing whenever possible." So I said, "Hi, Tracy, we're in talks with the prospective tenant at the moment, and we should have everything wrapped up by Monday, but I can reach out if the deal falls through." And she says, "Thank you. I would appreciate that." Right? Very professional, very understanding that, you know, there is a process. There's an application. We got to go over the application. We got to set up a day to schedule the scene, at least to be signed. We got to do all of that, you know, and it very understanding, very normal. I mean, I didn't reach out to her specifically, but I would have. If the deal had not gone through, we would have reached out to her and been like, "Hey, you know, like, the deal didn't go through. Would you like to set up a showing?" So that's a couple of little things that we had to go through to kind of rent out some places. So I hope you guys did enjoy that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.